Hi, I'm Thecia Ellis, and you are listening to This Grandma's Life podcast. It is February 23rd, 2023, and we are on episode 20, and it's called DMV Fun. And I'll be perfectly honest, all of this, I'm going to do my regular excerpts of the day, but basically the story of the day, what's on my mind, and the main subject is going to be about the DMV. It's been a mess, but we'll get there in just a few minutes. Let's start with farm happenings. We had a couple of glorious days. Yesterday it was like 72 degrees. It was just wonderful. It's always breezy. But I think even though we were under a wind advisory, it wasn't that bad, so it was okay with me. And then yesterday we got about half an inch of rain. And it's usually whenever you get rain is when it gets cold, as the rain comes through, and then when it gets cold. But the rain came through yesterday morning, and then we had the glorious day, and then overnight it got cold, and like the high today was like 39. So yep, welcome to Oklahoma. But it is starting to green up a little bit. I actually even did a video on Monday. Well, and it's not out yet, but I did a video. I'm going to start doing on my YouTube channel of Grandma's Homestead. I'm going to try to do a weekly video showing what's changing. I like to do that in the spring specifically, so you can see, okay, these trees are starting to leaf out. Oh, here's some blossoms, and look what's growing here. The vineyard is starting to do something. Of course, it's not right now, but because usually the vineyard doesn't even start until late March, early April, something like that. But I do a video that kind of on usually on Mondays, and kind of doing an update to show what's changing on here. And Monday was my first one to do that, and I hope to get that out real soon. So it's kind of cool. It's finally things are greening up. I'm happy. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm not ready for all the work that entails doing that, but I'm ready. And usually now, Kinsey, as you guys know, we have my granddaughter Kinsey, and she just finished up basketball season, and now she has started a spring softball season. And this is outside of the school, even though a lot of her teammates are in the same school that she goes to. This is I think they call it a recreation league. There's several of the kids do different leagues outside, because the school has a summer league, but it doesn't start until July. And Kinsey has a really natural knack for softball, so I'm looking forward to her getting some of that done. Because she's good at it. I think she's going to be good enough that she, even as little as she is, I think she can get into college, get a college scholarship on it. So I'm ready. I'm happy that she's doing spring softball league, and so she'll be not. I mean, because their first practice was the other day, and she was rusty, but it won't take her long to get things out of the way. My three things. Number one was the DMV again. Number two was get my menu and grocery list for the week. I did get that done already too. And guess what? Number three is celebrate, because Kinsey finally got her driver's license. And you know what? It has been such an ordeal. It has been such an issue that we're going to go celebrate tonight, but we are flipping tired. We are so tired and so glad it's over, but we're going to celebrate anyway. Okay, what I'm reading. I'm still wanting to read to you a little bit about from Atomic Habits with James Clear. And the first one is going to be, they're going to be from chapters 11 and 12. There's not much, but on page 146, is one of the most common questions I hear is, how long does it take to build a new habit? But what people really should be asking is, how many does it take to form a new habit? That is, how many repetitions are required to make a habit automatic? In practice, it doesn't really matter how long it takes for a habit to become automatic. What matters is that you take the actions you need to make the progress. To build the habit, you need to practice it. And the other excerpt is on page 152. Certainly, you're very capable of doing very hard things. The problem is that some days you feel like doing the hard work, and some days you feel like giving in. On the tough days, it's crucial to have as many things working in your favor as possible so that you can overcome the challenges life naturally throws your way. The less friction you face, the easier it is for your stronger self to emerge. The idea behind make it easy is not to only do easy things. The idea is to make it as easy as possible in the moments to do the things that pay off in the long run. So that's short and sweet this time. And that was basically the two chapters 11 and 12. And I've learned a lot from this book. It's been pretty good to go through it. I've got a whole mess of other stuff that I've read and would like to share with you too, but I kind of want to get through this book too. Okay, so quote of the day. And this is a quote that came from Mark Twain, and I decided I kind of want to everybody. Okay, everybody, did we all know who Mark Twain is even anymore? I was kind of raised with Mark Twain, and but think about how much has changed over the years and how few people. I asked Kinsey, my granddaughter, one day, I said, do you know who Elvis Presley is? And she actually knew who Elvis Presley is, but there's a lot of people she doesn't know. So Mark Twain was his pen name. It was actual Samuel Langhorne. What a name. Clemens. And he lived from 1835 to 1910. And he was most famous for two books, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So if you didn't know who Mark Twain was, and those were kind of good books that I remember reading a long, long time ago. But his quote is, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. And there's a good reason I chose that for the day, dealing with fear. But let me repeat it again. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. Mark Twain. Okay, what's on my mind? Like I said, this is going to be like all of it on my mind, story of the day, and my main subject. Kinsey got her permit over the summer. She was eligible to get her driving test, to actually get her driving license earlier in this month, but between schedules and weather and all that other stuff, because they don't do driving tests on bad weather days. And we've had 2 or 3 times we could have gone, but there was been rain or something, rain or snow or whatever, And I don't know how many people live in Claremore now. I know when back in, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, it was a city of about 20,000. That's a pretty good amount, I guess, 20,000. So I'm sure there's more than that now. But the Department of Motor Vehicles or Department of Public Safety, whatever it is that you want to follow with it, has one little spot in a strip mall. And I think there's only 2 stations where you can go to pay or do whatever, to get your license renewed and stuff like that. And you know how it is. Their systems are slow, and now they've got that new Real ID thing. And so, like for years and years, you just go in there and you do all the rigmarole, and they print it up. They took your picture and they printed up your license, and you walked out there with your license. But they don't do that now. I guess it's got to go through the FBI or something. And so you walk out after all this stuff that you go through with just a piece of paper saying you did it. But that's okay too. So we went to the first time, and you got to also, it's so bad, especially if you want a driving test. I understand they only do 5 driving tests a day for a huge area. So they open at 8, and basically you are told if you want to get in there, you need to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we went in there at 6 o'clock in the morning and standing out in the cold, and finally at 8, I think we didn't even get seen for an hour, even though we were like early in line. And Kinsey went out to do her driving test, and the woman who did the driving test, the tester, apparently, and she and Kinsey clashed real bad, but I didn't know that was going on. Whenever the first time Kinsey took the driving test, the woman came back and says, okay, she ran a stop sign, and I'm going, what? Okay, all right, that's fine, and told me 2 or 3 other things that Kinsey had done. So I got in the car, and Kinsey's just incredulous. She said, I ran a stop sign. And I said, well, let's go look at it. And I guess what they don't tell you is you're supposed to, and it was a specific place where a vehicle could have been considered an obstacle. Kinsey came to a full stop, but she did not stop for 3 to 5 seconds like this one woman, the woman wanted. So Kinsey came to a full stop, saw that nothing was coming, and went. And so, but the woman flunked her immediately, saying that she didn't come to a full stop, that she um, didn't do the 3 to 5 seconds. And because of that vehicle, even though it was parked there illegally, she should have stopped behind the stop sign and then pulled forward where she could see in front of the vehicle, even though you could see from behind that nothing was coming. She was supposed to stop again in front of where she could see in front of that car and then go. Well, she didn't do that. And so she got failed immediately. So Kinsey was pretty upset with that, but she was kind of shocked. She was really shocked that she didn't pass it. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. So we'll try it another day. So we went another day and stood in line, 23 degrees, standing out there for 2 hours, because you got to claim your spot. There's like 20 or 30 people out there, but an hour before they even open the door. So you're standing out there. It was 23 degrees. It was cold, and it was about to the point. And I tried to stand out there, so because Kinsey's a little bitty skinny thing. Of course, I'm grandma, and I spoil her a little bit, and so I stood in the cold for the vast majority of it. And then Kinsey, about the time that Kinsey was spelling me, about 7:45, somebody stuck their head out the door and says, "Oh, there's nobody to do driving tests today. It's just me." So there was one person to run the Department of Motor Vehicles that day, all by herself, all day long. So we drove home and had to try another day. So Tuesday morning of this week, we drove back up there. It wasn't as cold, but it was cold. And oh, and I forgot to tell you about that part of it. Part of the reason that Kinsey was kind of freaking out about it too, because Kinsey stained my seat. Brand new car. She put something in the seat way back 5 years ago. I was irritated about it, but I think it's slime. I think is what it was. But it's been there. We can't get it out. And so we moved on. Well, we opened the tester opened the door, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, this car is filthy. Wipe it down." And Kinsey's going, what? And I keep it, it's not clean, but I keep it picked up and I do the best I can. And it's wintertime, so I don't clean it up as much as I should. But, it needed to be vacuumed, but it was relatively, it's not no trash in the floor, no garbage, nothing rolling around, but because I guess the stain in the seat just really freaked the woman out, and which freaked Kinsey out. So she didn't know what to do. So then we go back Tuesday. Kinsey's already going, "Oh no, it's going to be the same instructor." And they went out, and Kinsey lasted a little bit longer, but I guess the woman just made her a little bit crazy. She goes, "Oh, I need you to turn right." "Oh no, make a turn, no, turn left up here." And so Kinsey goes to go across. Well, she fell then. And she was furious. Kinsey was so furious. And I guess I can't blame her, but I'm trying to balance it. Is it this instructor or the tester, or is it Kinsey? What is going on here? So we kind of decided, what do we do? Well, we talked to some of the other parents who've tried to go through Claremore, and 2 or 3 of them said, "Go to Miami," which it's spelled Miami like like in Florida, but for some reason in Oklahoma they call it Miami, and it's a smaller town. So they said, "Go there. You'll get in there easy. They're good to you. They're nice." I mean, the people at this DMV were pretty nice too, but they said, "Go in there. It won't take as long, and they'll get you in too." So we did. I think today was our 5th trip. So we did the first 4, 2 of them where we couldn't get in, and 2 of them where Kinsey failed. They're in Claremore here. And so then we drove it's an hour drive to get to Miami. So we got there. It's cold again this morning, but we only had to stand out there for like half an hour because there was a few people standing in line, but it went okay. Then we opened the door, and they opened the door, and they said, "Well, there's nobody here to give tests again, give tests here." And we're going, "Oh, really?" And they said, "But we have somebody coming from Tulsa if you want to wait." We're thinking, "Oh, yeah, let's wait." We drove an hour. Let's wait. And they said, "But we don't know how long it'll be." It's like, well, what do we got to lose? So we sat and waited and waited. And of course, we made some good friends, talked to different people there, had chatted and made the time pass. And of course, Kinsey was a little nervous, and so sure enough, some people, I don't know why they had that. Well, I guess they had one guy there. They had 2 people there already, but one of them was in training, and so he couldn't do anything. And another guy came in, and we're going, "Yes, he can do it." And he didn't. He sat down. and they waited for another woman to come. So there's 4 people in this office with a lot, considerably fewer people than what there is in Claremore. But Kinsey was second in line to get her driver's test. We watched the first one. It's kind of funny because the parallel parking was right outside the window of the DMV. So we watched the first guy, and then we watched him like literally almost run a stop sign. I mean, he just barely stopped. He did what I guess we almost like a California stop. And his mother even goes, "Oh no." And he didn't even stop hardly. I don't know if he's going to pass this or not. Well, they passed him. I thought, well, okay, if Kinsey doesn't pass, there's something definitely wrong here, because if that woman let him go, then there's something wrong. Kinsey got her, she passed, and the lady goes, "Actually, you were a very good driver, and you did your parallel parking perfectly, and so yeah, you did great." So I mean, I think she came away with it with no points at all deducted from her. So I thought that was really cool. So I don't know what the deal was with that woman in Claremore and Kinsey, but it made me feel better and I know it made Kinsey feel better to know that at least she could pass, and it was probably the woman that was such an issue. But she got her driver's license, and of course she had to wait and wait and wait for them to go back in and start processing her. So we got that done finally. And they said, okay, and they took her picture and they took her fingerprints. And then they go, "Oh, now you have to go to the tag office to pay for it." We're going, okay. So we had to go find the tag office. And we get into the tag office and they don't take cards. You have to get cash. So we had to go to a marijuana dispensary across the road and use their ATM to get cash so we could pay for Kinsey's driver's license. And I don't know, I know what state you're in, but that's what we've got right here. We've got dispensaries all over this state now. It's terrible how many there are. And I don't particularly care, but you also wonder how do they stay open, because you never really see anybody there either. The number of dispensaries that are open and the people that actually go there, I don't know. Something's going on there, but I don't care. It just felt weird to walk into a dispensary. And of course, at the same time, Kinsey's going with me because it's cold outside, and we're realizing she shouldn't have been. The lady was nice. She goes, "Yeah, people come over here all the time to get cash so they can pay for their driver's license." So we finally got the driver's license. Well, she got her paper permit, and that worked out pretty good. I was glad. I was grateful. She was glad. She was grateful. We're relieved, because every time we had to go to the DMV, we were having to get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning so we can get around and be at the DMV by 6 o'clock. And then she's going to school afterward. I got my stuff I've got to do. So honestly, we're tired. And then we're sitting there. Finally got we got breakfast. Well, we didn't even get breakfast. We got dinner at or lunch. I mean, about 11 o'clock in the morning, a little after 11. So we were really hungry by then. And so got to eat, and then I realized, because the other times we get done and we get out at a pretty decent time, but not too bad. I get chores done a little bit later. Heck no, I didn't get morning chores done until 1:30 in the afternoon. I was so nervous that that the pigs were going to be hungry and angry and get out and be roaming the hillside, because I wasn't there and hadn't fed them this morning. But thank God they were there. They were doing well, and I was grateful for that. I was so grateful. I'm really grateful today. We got the DMV part done. I'm looking forward to celebrating with Kinsey, because I told Kinsey, I said, she faced her fear of trying to get she was nervous. You know how it is when you get your driver's license. You're nervous and and everything. And then that first instructor just really made Kinsey so nerve-wracking nervous. And now we're driving an hour away to get to do that. And she knows she's asking a lot of me to get up there. And of course, I'm standing out in the cold for her. I'm driving her where she goes. And she was very sweet. She was saying, "I really appreciate you doing this, But she was facing the fears of getting a driver's license And this was her third time to take it, and she was going to have to wait a month. If she failed today, she was going to have to wait a month before she could do it again. And she really wants her license. And I'll be perfectly honest, I'm ready for her to have her license too. At first, it was a little bit difficult for me to wrap my head around. But with softball season starting, the spring season, I don't want to sit through practices. And practices are all the way in Claremore. Before, they were just they were, a mile and a half down the road. But right now, they're 15 miles away, and I don't want to have to drive down there and sit and stuff. So now for practices, she gets to go, she gets to drive, she gets to take her the other girl that lives with us, and so she gets to drive herself to school every day. So it's going to free up a little bit of time for me. I'm still going to be going to all the games and all that other stuff, but right now it is going to free up some time for me, and I'm glad, I'm grateful. And like I said, the pigs were where they belonged. Everybody's fed. I even already got the evening chores done. So we're done. And we're going to go celebrate tonight. And I'm grateful. And then we're going to crash. We're going to rest and crash. So I hope, anyway. I was hoping to get some rest yesterday because after being up so early, and then the thunderstorm came through, and my big dog, Beethoven, he's such a pain in the butt, scratching on the front door at 1:00 in the morning and getting up. I think I got up with him 3 times that night. I'm thinking, dude, I wanted to sleep. Oh, well, I'm up now. So that's all I got for you today. Oh, no, I don't. My story of the day. Oh, my gosh. I forgot about that. This crazy old man. Oh, man. Okay, so on one day we showed up that I had left out. We showed up in the morning and they said, our system is down. We can't help you. We can't do driving tests. We can't do anything. And we said, well, what do we need to do? So this is trip 3. And they said, come back at 1:00 and see if the system is up then. So I took Kinsey to school, then went back at 12:30 or whatever it was, and picked her back up. And we showed up and we're sitting outside. I think I picked her up about noonish or something because I wanted to be there a little bit early. So I had left my chair from that morning out in the front because if you're going to be out there for 2 hours, you get a chair. And so I had accidentally left it by the front door and nobody took it. So I was sitting in my chair. So we were waiting for the DMV to open at 1:00 to see if their system was up. So Kinsey could get her driver's license that day. This is the day that she failed it for the second time. And another man, I think he was about my age. He might have been a little bit younger than me, but he sat down on one of the benches nearby and we were chatting a little bit, just kind of how you do. And then another man came up and he was standing there and he said he was 81 years old, and he may have been 81. He looks good for 81, but it didn't take him long to get flat obnoxious. Like terrible. He started yelling, if you're a Trumper, you're a Nazi. We're going, what? And he starts spewing obscenities and saying that Trump did this and na 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 na. And the other guy, he goes, well, I respectfully disagree. And I'm trying to stay out of it, but he kept just getting just flat obnoxious. I was in Vietnam and we were treated like crap. He said a lot worse than that, but hey, we couldn't get a job, couldn't do this and come, and we were just treated poorly. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, they were, and he goes, and I'm bitter about it. Well, he'd already been going for a few minutes, and I'm going, yeah, you are bitter. Dadgum, you're bitter. But I'm chilling, trying to be, but then he turns on Kinsey and starts trying to call her Nazi. And Kinsey spoke up for herself because, look, she goes, I don't know anything about politics. I don't care. We've asked you 2 or 3 times to be quiet, because we did. We kept saying, dude, we don't care. We don't want to talk about this. We don't want to talk about it at all. And he just kept getting louder and more belligerent. But then he goes, well, then you're a Nazi. And when we go into Civil War, ain't nobody going to come save you. And something in me snapped. Because he's going after my granddaughter. And I've never done this before. I started coughing real hard and and I'm thinking, and I like I said, I had never done that before. I was coughing and I think he knew I had come to the end of my rope with him because we'd already told him several times, dude, chill. We don't want to talk about it. You're being obnoxious. Stop. But when I did that cough and I opened my eyes and looked at him, he looked at me like, oh crap, this woman means I better shut up. And he shut up. And I was glad because I did not want the headlines. I did not want to read headlines that says 60-year-old woman kicks 81-year-old man's butt and gets arrested. I did not want to, because I was about to jump him, and he was going to see what this old woman could do. Boy, I was mad. I mean, you could spew idiocy and you can be told to shut up so many times, but boy, when you square off with my granddaughter who's just standing there quietly minding her own business, you've messed up. And he was finally smart enough to understand that I was about to come kick his ass. So yeah, I can't doubt. Okay, I guess so. That's my story of the day. So we're all glad that I wasn't thrown in jail. We were all. Well, I'm glad. I didn't want to be thrown in jail. That would have been terrible. Can you imagine kids that go back to school going, "Oh, you wouldn't believe my grandma got arrested," but I did not. I did not get thrown in jail. Kinsey now finally has a driver's license. We're all very grateful. We're all tired. We're all happy it's over with. So that's it. That's all I got for the day. You can find me at grandmashomestead.farm. I still haven't got there, what I need to do, but you can still see it there. My main YouTube channel is Grandma's Homestead. And I've got the channel Farm Animal Life, where I put a camera in that, and that's been a long form thing, so I haven't been kind of not doing as many videos as I should with that one. But I'm discovering there's a whole mess of little bitty snippets that I can take from that footage that I put on Farm Animal Life. So I'm now starting to put things out on TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff like that. That is from the Farm Animal Life footage. So that's kind of cool and exciting. That's something I knew I've started. So on Instagram, I'm Thecia Ellis. TikTok is Thecia Ellis. Facebook is Thecia V. Dayhoff Ellis. I'm on MeWe as Thecia Ellis, and Twitter is Thecia E. So check out some of that stuff and see how it's going, and then and start checking out some of my shorts, and that's been fun. I've heard several people say that the shorts are fun, and they're right. They're fun. But that's all I got today. Okay, don't get into fights with old men trying to get your poor granddaughter's driver's license. But live, guys. Live until you die. Do your very best to enjoy life to the best of your ability. And God bless.